So, OpenAI just changed the game for text to video. Until now, we've had very limited text to video models available, and I've played around with a few on Hugging Face, but now they've just made an announcement that they've released a model called Sora, which is able to create videos full resolution up to 60 seconds in length. A lot of the other models are only really short durations and very limited resolutions. And from all the models so far, this one clearly has a significant improvement in modeling the physics of the real world, but also simulated worlds. And it has sort of, from what I understand anyway, it has kind of three key things that it's good at. And so check out this video and we can delve into it. I'll also talk about from a video editor's perspective and a software developer's perspective. So stay tuned for a slightly different take on the latest release of the text to video model from OpenAI called Sora. All right, let's jump over to my screen and we can take a look at the announcement. Okay, so this is their landing page. You just go to their website, you'll see it. It's a very well written page. It's simple, to the point. Even the technical report is very easy to read. If you're interested in it, we'll do a little scan through it. I don't want to take up too much of your time and just give you stuff that you can look at yourself. But I will give you a slightly different take on it than other YouTubers have done. What is interesting is that, of course, everyone wants a text to video model. We've seen a few of those already, some from Facebook and whatnot, but they never quite were able to model physics properly. But we needed to go through that process to learn what to do next. And in the technical report, they talk about some of the limitations of the previous models and what they've done to kind of overcome some of those limitations. So I'll scan through this some samples. So all the videos you're about to see on this page are generated by this model without modification. So let's go through. It's broken up into capabilities, safety, and research, so we can see what it's like. And all the videos might not all load on my browser. I've noticed some of them are struggling to load, but that's all good. I am not using a Windows machine. I'm just using Chrome on a Mac OS. Yeah. So at the moment, it's their text to video model. It's not currently available for us to use. It's currently in sort of beta testing or maybe even alpha testing with the safety team essentially. And they're going to assess it for misinformation and dangerous prompts, and also they're getting a lot of feedback from creators. I don't know who. I haven't looked at their. I haven't seen how they've employed creators to test this model out, but of course they're taking on a lot of feedback to help improve the model. So they can generate a video up to a minute long while maintaining a visual quality and adherence to a user's prompt. And they've leveraged what they've learned from DALL-E 3 using a sort of a captioning model where if you've just put in a simple prompt, it has a separate layer where it uses GPT to create a more advanced, sophisticated prompt, which is really useful because one of the challenges that DALL-E 3 struggles with is consistency between images, I've noticed. And so if you wanted to create sort of a story with a character in it, with simple prompts for each sort of picture you want to create, uh, it's very difficult to maintain someone who looks the same without, creating your own model. Obviously, you can't do that with DALL-E 3, but, using Stable Diffusion or something like that, you create your own model, fine tune it, or train a model from scratch on a particular character's face. But I mean, we're still gonna. It's DALL-E 3 still doesn't get it perfect, but the captioning layer does definitely help improve that. And I have had times where if your prompt is good enough, you are actually able to capture the facial features of someone pretty closely to be consistent on consecutive images. So yeah, that's quite interesting, and it'll be interesting to see. I'd love to test that out when Sora is finally released on the API as well, or ChatGPT. All right, so here's one of the examples. Is you've got a prompt photorealistic close-up video of two pirate ships battling each other as they sail inside of a coffee cup. So you can do some pretty crazy things. That's a fun one. The one that everyone's been showing has been this video. What I like about it is because clearly he's sitting on a cloud, a young man in his 20s, sitting on a piece of cloud in the sky, reading a book. And I think that's pretty awesome. I mean, look how accurate that is. His fingers all look intact. It's got frames. I think it goes for about 18 seconds. And here's another one. You can generate different resolutions. So this is going to be great for creators. They're resolutions that creators use on a daily basis. You've got portrait, you can do square, and you can do landscape. And the resolutions are they're more stated in the paper, so we'll go through those. Um, this is an example of a 3D animated scene featuring close-up of a short fluffy monster kneeling beside a melting red candle. The art style is 3D and realistic with a focus on lighting and texture. That was 10 seconds. This is a super realistic one, a drone view of waves crashing against the rugged cliffs along Big Sur's Garraway Point beach. The crashing blue waters create white-tipped waves while the golden light of I've got to expand that, of the setting sun illuminates the rocky shore. A small island with a lighthouse sits in the distance. Oh yeah, I guess this is the island. So it's not exactly accurate to what's said here, but it's captures the essence of what was said in the prompt. This is an interesting one. A movie trailer featuring the adventures of a 30-year-old spaceman wearing a red wool knitted motorcycle helmet. Blue sky, salt desert, cinematic, shot 35mm film, vivid colors. What's interesting about this is I'm not 100% clear of is that did it do all these cutscenes? Which I find super interesting and kind of a bit scary because that kind of does a lot of jobs there. All the cutscenes, multiple images. Um, a couple of other things I've noticed is too, all of their videos will probably likely have some kind of AI generated watermark. You can kind of see in the bottom corner there. I don't know if you can see it in my screen because my face is probably in the way. But there's a little watermark appearing down here, and I'm curious to know whether that's going to be baked in. Okay, this is a giant woolly mammoth's approach, treading through snowy meadows. So, like, that's so cool. Everything about this is pretty accurate. This is a cityscape. I mean, I don't need to read the prompt, but you can imagine it's Tokyo streets filled with warm, glowing neon lights. And if we keep scrolling down, so it's saying here it's now become available to red teamers to assess critical areas of harms and risk. Um, Here you've got even more examples. There's just so many cool examples, both in the 3D animation realm, in the close-up realism of human physics realm. Um, this is cool. It's kind of a little fantasy realm. Historical footage of California during the gold rush. That's incredible. Okay, so yeah, Sora is capable of generating complex scenes with multiple characters, specific types of motions, and accurate details of the subject and the background. The model understands not only what the user has asked for in the prompt, but also how those things exist in the physical world, which is just crazy. This is one of my favorite ones. But I think you got to start. For me, I have to start up here. So this is, yeah, a dragon in a street at a festival. You've got Borneo wildlife. You got a cat playing in the bed. You got a flock of paper aeroplanes. This, actually, I found this one fascinating because the crab has so many legs. It does a pretty good job at the consistency of the legs and the physics of the crab underwater and the octopus. Um, and there's a few like blurs, you can't quite see what the legs are doing and whatnot, which is probably pretty normal even for some of the static images you'd create with DALL-E 3 would be like that. But that's just unreal. Drone footage, you got footage pointing out a window which just looks almost indistinguishable from real. I love this one that I mean the drone. This is the camera follows behind a white vintage SUV with a black roof rack as it speeds up through dirt roads surrounded by pine trees on a steep mountain slope. Dust kicks up from its tires, and the sunlight shines on the SUV as it speeds along the dirt road, was it casting warm glow over the scene. The dirt. It's a very detailed prompt. The dirt road curves gently and into the distance with no other cars or vehicles in sight. These trees on either side of the road are redwoods with patches of greenery scattered throughout. The car is seen from the rear following curve. So that's pretty detailed and fun. Feels a little bit too smooth, the camera angle, but pretty awesome. Clearly it's like some kind of Land Rover. It's got some kind of text there, Grand Over, or I can't quite read what it has there. You can see the wheel moving jaggedly like a computer game in some of the corners. But it's like you'd have to do a double take to see whether it was real or not, that's for sure. You can create multiple shots within a single generated video that persists characters and visual style. So this is something that I'm really keen to explore more because then you could start to put together narratives from multiple calls and videos, which which is crazy. It means you can actually create stories. Um, you've got vibrant express vibrant emotion. So that's one thing I've noticed with DALL-E 3 is it's not great with emotions. It is if you're very specific in the prompt, but if you're not super specific, you have to go back and because maybe you did want to actually explain. I mean, it can't the captioning can't guess what emotion you're trying to convey unless you actually specify it correctly. Um, all right, I think I've probably shown you enough example. There's one example that I love. I just want to show it to you. Is this one? A litter of golden retriever puppies playing in the snow. Their heads pop out of the snow and they're covered in. This is crazy. Like it looks so real. I mean, there's some weird things that are probably happening in the back end, like this one that in the background, this golden retriever was covering the other golden retriever. It looked like his body came out of nowhere and just little things, but you really have to look to find those things. I think I saw a leg. What was it? This one's leg turned into this dog's leg. But that is still crazy. You just cannot do it. So it talks about some of the weaknesses here. So it may struggle to accurately simulate the physics of a complex scene, which is kind of a bit like what DALL-E 3 struggles with too. Keep in mind this the way that they're doing this is actually a diffusion based model. So I think it's going to have a lot of similar weaknesses that DALL-E 3 is facing already. Um, for example, a person might take a bite out of a cookie, but afterwards the cookie may not have a bite mark, which is kind of what we saw here. You've got this leg just morphing into this where did I see it? This dog's leg turns into That dog's leg, yeah. And may confuse spatial details of the prompt. For example, mixing up left and right. So this is kind of cool. And at the moment, the short of this is it's still under safety regulations. I mean, this is going to have broad sweeping implications for creators, for artists, for fake news. I think there's going to be a lot of people who might have malicious intent with things like this to create fake news. Um, so yeah, it's just there's a lot of engaging policy makers, educators, artists to understand it a bit more. What I wanted to talk about, rather than going into great detail about the research, I will load up the research paper. So this is when you click the research paper, this is video generation models as world simulators. So we explore large scale training of generative models on video data. Specifically, we train text condition diffusion models jointly on videos and images of variable durations, resolutions, and aspect ratios. And they go into more detail about how they do it. And they say our results suggest that scaling video generation models is a promising path towards building general purpose simulators of the physical world. And if we scroll down, I talk about some of the limitations of the previous models. So that's quite interesting to read if you have some time. And then they talk about how they actually generate the models and do the compression. They do the mapping to latent spaces. They're using the transformer model where it starts sort of guessing what the clean model should look like. Here's an example. This is sort of base compute, 4 times compute, 32 times compute, and how that's transformed for a square one. So this is where it starts to get interesting about how past approaches really just focused on square videos, and then if you wanted to actually use them for anything useful, it would only be 4 seconds long, and then you'd have to do some weird scaling, upscaling, frame by frame. It was really just, unfortunately, just not usable. But it was a necessary stepping stone for these guys to build on, which is great. So Sora can sample widescreen full 1080p videos, vertical 1080p videos, which it's ideally for stories and reels, and everything in between. This lets Sora create content for different devices directly at their native aspect ratios. I think this is like the most important thing here. It's also let us quickly prototype content at lower sizes before generating a full resolution with the same model. So yeah, that's my experience too. If you build out a bit of production software or video editing software, you want to pass in a flag saying test equals true. Let's just run this at a lower resolution to use less compute. That way you can get to the result faster. And then you might want to do that again and make a change. Do that again, make a change, and do that again, make a change. So here's an example. This is the turtle at 1080 by 1920. And then you've got the square version of it. If it will play, it might not fully play. For some reason, some of these videos aren't playing on my screen. But you get the picture. It's got its portrait mode, square mode, and landscape mode. And then so improved framing and composition. So framing and composition really makes or breaks a good sort of video clip, doesn't it? We empirically find that training on videos at their native aspect ratios improves composition and framing. So if they got heaps of training data and just cropped it and used that as training data, which is so easy to do in the research world, um, it you lose a lot of context. So we compare Sora against a version of our model that crops all the training videos to be square, which is common practice when training generative models. So there we go. That's awesome. Look how much more context you have. Language understanding. So this starts talking about So training the text-to-video generation systems requires a large amount of videos with corresponding text captions. That's how you train it. We apply a recaptioning technique, which we discussed earlier, in DALL-E 3 to videos. We first train a highly descriptive captioner model and then use it to produce text captions for all videos in our training set. So that's pretty cool. And there's a toy robot wearing a green dress and sun hat, taking a pleasant stroll in Johannesburg, South Africa during a colorful festival. So prompting with images and videos. All of our results above in our landing page show text to video samples, but Sora can also be prompted with other inputs, such as pre-existing videos or images. This capability enables Sora to perform in a wide range of images and videos and editing tasks, creating perfectly looping videos. That's going to be huge. So many YouTube channels which could benefit from that. Animating static images. This will be huge because people can easily bring their DALL-E 3 images to life. Extending videos forwards or backwards in time. This is also going to be huge because most of the time, if you're a video editor, you will know that to get the timing right, uh, you need to find the perfect stock media footage. It's got to be either too long or if or too short, you've got to find some filler content. If you can just extend a video forwards or backwards in time from the beginning to where the video starts, or from where the video ends and to the end of the video, then you're able to do your job better. Even if it's existing video, it could already be stock footage that you're doing it to. So it's just starting to open up a lot of opportunities there. So Sora is capable of generating videos provided an image as an input. So here's an example. Here's an image generated from DALL-E 3, and this is the video it created. Square image, square video. And I mean, the physics look pretty good. I mean, already there's a decent amount of blur in here, and it's sort of carried that blur across. Here's an example of animated illustration. Monster illustrator and flat style design, diverse family of monsters. The group includes furry brown monster. You can get very specific, and then now we're seeing it animated. Another animation. I wanted to see what this. Oh, there we go. Another animation. um, so this was interesting. Sora is capable of extending videos either forward or backwards in time. So that's what I was mentioning before. So watch this. All these videos start at completely different points because Sora has generated. But look where they all end. They all end at the same point. So this is an example of the editing. Likewise, you could do it, flip it, probably do it on the tail end of the clip too. Um, I don't know if this is going to work. Okay, yep. So they probably do some extension here. Seamlessly, this is we can use this method to extend videos both forward and backward to produce a seamlessly infinite loop. This looping is reminding me of, the countless number of jazz or lo-fi music channels on YouTube that use DALL-E 3 images and they just play music. But imagine if they just made it a little bit more dynamic and they added some movement, which some people do, and they spend hours creating and animating fireplaces in a chalet in France. But imagine now they just have a static image. DALL-E 3 turns it into a video, and then it's an infinitely looping video. That's that's a lot of their work done. So video to video editing. So diffusion models have enabled a plethora of methods for editing images and videos from text prompts. Below, we apply one of these methods using SD edit to Sora. This technique enables Sora to transform the style and environments of the input video. So let's please work. I don't know why that one's not working. Oh, here we go. Something's loading. Input video. Unfortunately, guys, I can't show you that one, but yeah, definitely jump back to this research paper, and you can see it. And so connecting videos, so that it looks like they've got some examples of how you can connect videos together and interpolate between 2 points, creating seamless transition between videos with entirely different subjects and scenes. Oh man, I would love to see that. Here we go. Oh, look at that. Okay. That is really interesting. So the original footage was, yeah, it's one that's on the homepage. It's just a drone shot of an old church in Italy, and it seamlessly transitions into this Christmas village. That's great. I'd love to play with that a bit more. Okay, what's going to happen here? Is he going to turn into this bird? This lizard is turning into this bird, one frame at a time. Huh. Okay, that's like some lion or tiger. Here we go. So this historical California gold rush town is it going to turn into this city with aquatic? Wow. Okay, that's cool. I didn't prior to this I didn't actually couldn't actually play these videos, so I couldn't see what the effect was. That's really fun. Okay, then finally it talks about Sora is capable of generating images. We do this by arranging patches of Gaussian noise in a spatial grid with temporal extent of 1 frame. The model can generate images of variable sizes up to 248 by 248. So are they saying this could be replacing DALL-E 3? I'm not sure. Close-up portrait of a woman. Yeah, so she's creating emerging simulation capabilities. So they talk about simulating 3D consistency in 3D worlds, um, which is pretty cool. Sora can generate videos with dynamic camera motion. As the camera shifts and rotates, people in the scene elements move consistently through three-dimensional space, which is just nuts. What's this one? Okay, looks like a national park. Someone's hiking and climbing. Wow. Long range coherence and object permanence. So these are all things that need to be considered when doing this. Interacting with worlds. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get these videos working, but I think it was sort of showing some of the physics. Um, a painter can leave new strokes along a canvas that persist over time, or a man can eat a burger and leave bite marks. Simulating digital worlds. This is cool. Like this is so I'm gonna play one of these videos. But essentially, this is kind of a Minecraft style. I didn't not playing for me. Minecraft style digital world. So yeah, this is going to be hard because there's so many gaming channels. And if you could just simulate that, I mean, obviously, gaming channels often the videos go for 2 hours of someone gaming, which you can't really do in 60 seconds. But you can generate short clips. Uh, so yeah, so basically, they just go through a discussion now, and they talk about how this suggests there's these scaling of video models is a promising path forward. What is that? What is that? There's that. Yeah. So definitely check that out. This is going to be a game changer for a lot of things. Now, one thing I can see happening is there's going to be AI YouTube channels, which some of them will be great. Some of them will, could be telling fictional stories or other creative movies or short films. Um, this can also be used in info-based, which will be challenging, but I'm sure it's going to be used like DALL-E 3 already is in info-based YouTube channels. Uh, for filler content, for royalty-free videos that aren't created by creators, instead created by these models, which is a sad thing. I personally have thousands of videos and clips on Pond5, and that's a revenue stream which might just disappear and dry up. I have noticed a lot of these royalty-free video sites have now started to allow AI generated content on there. So that could be something worth considering and as an income stream. But it'd just be why wouldn't people just go to the text to video models to generate that as well? Particularly if you could do exactly the duration you need and or you've got a clip that you already like, you just need it to be a bit longer, or you want to add something else into it uh, to fill in that content or that space that you might have in your video editing workflow. So that is going to be super interesting to see what happens, how quickly this is going to happen. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how long this red team analysis, safety analysis will go for, but definitely let's stay on top of it because I'm sure there's a lot of, if they release it through the API, there's going to be so many automated workflow flows that will be available, just like when they released DALL-E 3. So you could create complete automated video generation for specific things. I can't think of too many use cases right now, but there will be hundreds, no doubt. Um, Couple this with text to speech, GPT, and you aggregate all these technologies together, you could create outreach systems, you could create support videos, you could create a number of things. We just have to see what the capabilities are and what the edge cases, what its limitations are. But if this happened in less than a year since the Facebook models were released, what's going to happen in the next year? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this summary, and I'll keep you up to date with when it gets released. I'll definitely do a video when it gets released and do some Python programming, and we can integrate if it gets released on the API, see how much it costs, see if it's worthwhile, is it scalable, what other sort of use cases you could use. All right, thanks. Talk to you soon. Bye.